Good morning and welcome to another edition of Coffee with the Librarian.
Good morning.
So today is May 5th, 2025. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
And
Revenge the 5th.
Yeah.
Fourth be with you.
For some.
yesterday, and
Yeah, May the 4th be with you. I hope it was with all of y'all because it was definitely with me on May 4th.
And this is Revenge of the Fifth.
Revenge of the 5th. Never heard of that. Okay. So I just want to let you guys know about some of the announcements we have going on throughout our library system. One, Mother's Day is coming up, and we have Forest Park who's doing a Mother's Day luncheon on February 8th, May 8th. So I think you have to register for that. So just call over to the Forest Park location. On May 10th, the headquarters location is doing Mommy and Me Tea Party. In a Mommy and Me Tea Party, we're going to watch Alice in Wonderland. So you'll have tea and dip your little biscuits and watch Alice in Wonderland with your mom. So come through for that too. I think that's all the announcements that I actually have. What's happening on May 17th?
Job fair.
Oh, we are having a job fair. That's because I got in trouble. On May 17th. Okay, so actually the week of May 12th, we'll be doing job readiness classes every day, Monday through Friday, to lead up to May 17th, the job fair that we'll be having here. It's going to be a really big event. It's for the community and veterans. So veterans come out. We're going to be helping you guys get jobs as well. We have Vision to Learn. And you know what, guys? This is our third year with Vision to Learn, and we're almost completely booked.
We're all booked.
We're all booked?
We have a waiting list now.
Oh, thank you guys from the Clayton County Library System. We appreciate you guys. Come get these baby free glasses. Yes. So if you still are interested in getting it, please be added to the wait list. You can still log on, pick a location, and be waitlisted for that, okay? Man, that happened quick. Bravo, guys. Good work. All right. I think that's it. Audience, is that all I have? Yeah, that's all I got. So I'll go ahead and shift it over to our Director Scott here.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody?
Good morning.
Hey. I'm Scott Parham, the director for the Clayton County Library System. And thank you again for being here, as well as those who are online tuning in. So as you know, the format, which we normally go through, is that there are some questions that have been submitted online during the course of the week or during the course of time between we had our last episode. So Kim, do we have anything that came in this time?
We do. We have a couple of questions. So the first question is it possible for moms and dads at work during the week to meet up at the park for a story time hosted by the library system?
Wonderful question. And we'll check with our youth services team to see if that's something that we have the capacity to do. We have been promoting our new bookmobile for the past couple of months. And so we have finalized our comprehensive plan where the bookmobile will be going to the different locations, the different routes. And so if it makes sense for the bookmobile to be at the park for one of those events and provide story time or just provide some services to the parents of the children and whatnot, we can most definitely arrange that and coordinate that. Was there a specific park that was mentioned?
No, there wasn't a specific park.
Well, maybe we'll get more feedback as time draws on.
Our next question is there a Friends of the Library group and how may I join?
Yes, there is. If you go to the county's website under Support the Library, there's a link to our Friends of the Clayton County Library System's Facebook page. And from there, you can follow as a friend and get in touch with someone who's with the Friends of the Library to become a member.
Are we going to have Spivey Splash passes? And if so, when will they be available?
Yes, we will have passes available May 27th, I think is the date that they will be available here at the library. If you recall last summer, you had to come to the headquarters library in order to check out one of the Spivey Splash passes. This year, we partnered with the Department of Parks and Recreation, and all of our branches will now have passes that are available to be checked out. And so each pass, it's actually a set of passes that will allow 4 family members access to the pass and to the water park. So we're very happy to have more passes for the community to be able to check out. And so, yeah, very excited about that.
Before I just want to say thank you to Miss Rita, who is Chef Rita. She's here in the building today, and she brought butter mochi pastries for Asian Pacific Islander Month.
Very nice. Thank you, Ms. Rita.
And Miss Rita,
Yeah.
she will also be teaching classes, cooking classes at 3 of our libraries for summer reading. So yes.
Nice, nice. My birthday was in February, but I'm gonna have another one next month. We'll keep you on retainer. There we go. We'll talk. Well, good. So if no other questions, we will jump right into our special guest today. If you wouldn't mind, sir, telling us who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Phong Nguyen. I am currently the interim director for Clayton County's Office of Resilience and Sustainability and also Emergency Management. Our office deals with several things. We deal with a lot of grants that come through congressionally directed spending that go towards flooding and mitigation of hazards. And then also we deal with emergency management, which deals with preparing the county for pretty much any disaster. We respond to disasters and then how to recover from any disasters that may come.
Very nice, thank you. So that's a long title, big title. As citizens are thinking of resiliency and sustainability, what should they keep foremost on their mind as it relates to your department?
So our department, obviously we deal with a lot of flooding. That's probably one of our main things that we deal with in the county. Some of the things that the decisions that we've made in the past regarding, say, acquiring land that are floodplain land and things like that. We need to be mindful of how we can obviously use it. Sometimes we have all this land and then people start building around that flood zone and they end up getting flooded. So that's really where the resiliency comes in. It's just like how the decisions we make today, how it affects years and from now into the future, where our kids and things like that. So just we got to be mindful of what we get for free and how we deal with it. Because some of this land that we're getting is quote unquote free, but it comes with a cost later on.
Very nice. So the mission of the Office of Resilience and Sustainability includes data-driven decision-making. What efforts are being made to adapt to the current technological advances to achieve this, and so that the residents of the county can benefit?
Yes, so that's a great question. We've been using quite a bit of technology in our office to gather data. One of the programs we use is, for example, Web EOC, which is Web Emergency Operations Center. Oftentimes we get, during a disaster, we may get a lot of calls that inundate us regarding where flooding is or trees down, power line down, things like that. And we compile the list. If it meets a certain amount of money for the state and then the county in a declared disaster, we can actually go after those funds and try to get those funds back for the county. And we've done that during Irma and we've done that during COVID. So that's the data that we're talking about is, we're very data driven. Because sometimes, people may say, hey, this is happening, but we really need the data to go, what they're saying is exactly what's happening. We also use flood maps. Those are great areas that we look at to see if somebody lives in a flood zone, because oftentimes they're purchasing these homes and they don't realize that they actually live in a flood zone. And then later on, nobody told them. And then they come and say, hey, my house is getting flooded. And you look at it and you're like, somebody should have told you this when you were signing your house or signing the paperwork for your house. So that's very important. So those are the things that we try to educate the community on as well.
Great. Are drones used? Are you guys using drones to look at different areas from a different vantage point?
Yes.
To determine that?
It's a great question. So prior to working for the Office of Resilience and Sustainability, I actually worked for the fire department. And I remember introducing the idea of drones to Chief Murkerson, which is now the DCO of the county, and brought him, my drone that I had at home. And I said, look, these are the things that I'm seeing. And this drone was ancient now to all these other drones, but had a camera on it, and I showed him videos of things that I was seeing, and he loved that idea. And then we really brought the whole drone idea into the county, and I was, I did a lot of their communications and things like that when I was at the fire department using drones. So we've also brought that whole idea into Homeland Security, which is another part of our office, and we utilize drones for, to go to locations that may be dangerous. We use drones to capture flooding, especially on Upper Riverdale Road. Whenever it floods really bad, we fly drones just so that it's a different image for people to see, not just a picture of a water, but actually overhead to see this is where it's flooding, and here's the hospital. We can't get to it. We have to drive around it to get to the hospital. So drones have been extremely important in our office.
Very nice, very nice. I've noticed that one of the long-term department challenges that you've identified is that the county must address environmental challenges, such as climate change, natural disasters, as well as pollution. What strategies has your office proposed so that the Clayton County residents are protected?
So that's a great question. Yes, so one of the initiatives that we're working on is we're working with building and maintenance and also HUD. We've captured some grants to roll out some EV infrastructures for the jail and things like that. And we're also looking through grant fundings to try to capture some regarding EVs. But as you can tell, that climate change has really started shifting. If you notice that even within this year, you're starting to notice we got 2 snowstorms back to back. We don't really get those. We got a huge hurricane that went through, Hurricane Helene, that was pretty rough. We barely missed it. And then people in North Carolina are experiencing it. We literally missed it. So you could also see those things that's happening. And what we're trying to do is, as far as the county goes, invest in more green space and less actual infrastructure that are impervious surfaces where rainwater could just wash away. So we have 4 pocket parks in the county that's coming up. We were able to get those grants, and we're working with several departments to get those green infrastructures out so people can enjoy and play without it being a pollution area.
Great. I'm gonna bring up something that's not on the cards here, but fits into this. So some of the natural disasters that we have witnessed recently, the wildfires in California. And folks think that since it's so far away, it can't happen to us. But then North Carolina, South Carolina has experienced wildfires. Is Georgia at risk? And is this peak time of the year for potential wildfires to happen in the state?
Well, wildfire is one of those things that could pretty much happen. It really depends on a lot of situations that could occur.
Okay.
So because we've had a lot of rain here in Georgia, and it's pretty humid in Georgia, wildfires aren't something that it happens, but it can happen. We do have a lot of woods, and there's been seasons where it's been extremely, there's a lot of drought. So when you add drought, you add wind, and then an accident that somebody started a fire somehow. It could be a car accident that could just set a fire and it could spread. But yeah, we don't really deal with wildfires too much, but there's potential to have it. Clayton County, probably slim, but I mean, there's potential to happen if you have a lot of wooded areas.
Okay, great, thank you for that. How can we at the library help embody resilience, sustainability, and EMA, or emergency management?
Well, we've partnered several times. We provide you guys some seeds. I think that's important, planting seeds for the community, giving it out, having it available. And we're going to continue to give you seeds so that you guys can continue that program. I think another thing is just having a plan, preparing for pretty much any disaster that could happen. That's really where our office comes in. And, whenever you guys need like active shooter classes, stop the bleed classes, we're there. And if there's certain training that the community would like for us to bring in, we can look and see if that's something we can provide. And we recently talked about providing emergency water for people to have and take home with them, and just think about preparation. A lot of times people don't think about preparing for a disaster because they they just kind of go through life and just like, if it happens to me, then I'll deal with it. But people don't realize that we're just a few steps away from any major disasters that could wipe out your savings and things like that. So it's important to have a plan for your family. You don't, during a disaster, the last thing you want to do is start planning. You want to execute that plan versus planning for a disaster.
Right. And you mentioned that we partnered on various things previously. Everything from our staff development day to where just other trainings that we've had. And we're currently in discussions on having libraries or libraries here in Clayton County be disaster preparedness locations. So if something happens in the community, we can help to support the community by having either water available or other resources. And so we're going further down that path. And
Right.
Very interested in that.
Yeah, just like it's almost like a switch. Once we provide you certain things, you're gonna be like, I didn't think about that. Let me think about that. And then it starts rolling into preparing. And once you prepare and you plan for it, the odds of something really bad happening, it's slim, obviously, but once it happens, you're ready for it. You're not just like, what do I do with my hands right now? It's all that preparation, planning, and training that really helps.
Let's go back to the seeds for a minute.
Mhm.
Why is it important for folks to grow their own food?
Well, if you ask my wife, she'll definitely tell you there's benefits in having organic food that you grow versus buying it from, say, unknown grocery store. You don't know what pesticides they put in. You really don't know. My wife's huge into organic, healthy foods, and what better way to grow some of it, or what better way to get it than just grow it yourself, and you know where it comes from. And it also saves you a lot of money, to be honest with you. So there's plenty of seeds. If you want to grow a bunch of tomatoes, there's tomato seeds and snow peas and peppers, all kinds of stuff.
Good. And we have seed libraries at 4 of our branches. Just a nice little plug. So stop
But
by
I
one.
mean, share it. Don't just go and grab it and resell it or something. Share.
And actually plant it.
Yeah,
Right.
actually plant it.
Good deal. So with summertime, good segue. It's going to get hot, and kids are going to be summer camp and out playing, hopefully. What are some things that they can do to protect themselves and to stay prepared for the heat that's coming?
Yeah, down to that level. Obviously, one of the big things that we plan in the county that we do is we'll try to set up some coolers to bring out water and things once it gets really hot. We did it last year at the gas pumps. We just left it because a lot of the officers, they just go call to call, and then all that body armor that they wear gets really hot. So we leave a lot of water out for them. But it's important that Park and Recreation Center have locations where people can cool and just stay out of the hot sun, and don't drink a lot of soft drinks. A lot of those soft drinks, high sugary drinks, they'll make you actually sick. They'll make you puke it up, and then if you drink a lot of coffee, that's diuretic. It makes you dehydrated very quick. I know it's coffee with the librarian, but make sure you're
That's all right.
hydrated.
Once a month, we can do that.
Yeah.
We're good. Much like the warming stations, has there been discussions of having cooling stations at some of the county's locations also? You mentioned Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Are there others that are being discussed?
So we have 8 warming and cooling
Okay,
stations
great.
in the county. And they're usually Park and Recreation Center. And all the warming station or center that we use, it's not really a place for people to stay overnight. It's just really to get out of the hot sun. So parks and recreation centers are like perfect for that. It's just that they have AC and people just get out of the hot air. And that's one thing that we can provide to the community. So check with your Park and Recreation Center, and maybe I'll speak with Director Parham to see if this could be another location where people just come and not hang out per se, but have a place where they could just stay cool and be out of the elements. Another thing that we really need to pay attention to when it gets really hot like this is tornadoes. A lot of storms can pop up really quick because the cold front, hot front, or warm front, when they hit each other, it could create a lot of tornadoes. And as you can see, these several weeks, we've just had extremely massive rain and tornado warnings and watches. It all happens so quickly.
Very nice. And speaking of that, I know that there is something called Code Red. Could you explain that to us so folks can stay informed of emergencies in their area?
Yeah. That's great. So if you go on our website, or you can download the Code Red app, you can actually get real-time notifications sent to you. What Code Red is and isn't is a lot of people think Code Red is like they could put whatever they want on it, saying, "Hey, I got promoted," or whatever it is. It's not for that. All right, it's not a promotion
It's
thing.
not a Facebook post.
No,
Right.
it literally is something really bad. I need your family to evacuate out of Clayton County. I can send a mass notification to a certain area and say, "Hey, we may have a chemical leak." You guys remember the Rockdale, that chemical leak, the chlorine gas and things like that? That's what we use Code Red for. Tornadoes, you'll get a bunch of notifications, but the ones that come from us are the ones that are obviously important. We're not just going to send out notification to you because it gets to a point where it's analysis, not analysis paralysis, but more of it desensitizes you because you're just continuously getting notifications from everybody. So we try not to send out too much those notifications. One of the questions that people always ask us in Clayton County is how many of those sirens that we have, tornado sirens and stuff like that. A lot of counties are actually moving away from those sirens because if you really truly think about when a tornado comes and when it heavy rains and hail, you're not going to hear a siren in your house. Most likely you have to step outside just to even hear it. So it's really only in areas where people are playing soccer so it's like down Lovejoy and things like that. But now everybody has cell phones. So that's why we opted to use Code Red as our notification versus sirens because sirens are expensive. Some of them could be $12,000, $13,000 a year just to maintain. So imagine having 10, 15 of them. The county could pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for sirens that oftentimes really go unnoticed, unheard.
Okay, great. You mentioned training a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
Is there training that citizens can sign up for? I know we do a lot departmental and you work with the county departments, but are there training sessions or training opportunities for the community?
Yes. Training is one of the big things we do. Miss Shalita Broomfield is actually our training exercise officer for the county. She coordinates a lot of training. And there's a lot of classes that if the library system wants us to have with teens, with adults, we can have those. My bread and butter, what I enjoy teaching the most is actually active shooter and stop the bleed. But as a director now, it's very difficult for me to come out and teach as much anymore because I have to manage an office and manage personnel and things like that. So it can become difficult to do all the training. But Ms. Shalita has several trainings that if anybody's ever interested, we can provide those to the community. One of the classes we actually teach is a community emergency response team. It's called CERT. We're going to be providing that training for our teens. We are working with our youth services, and they have about 21 teens that we go through this training where we really teach you how to do light search and rescue, to cribbing vehicles during an accident. We will teach you stop the bleed. We'll teach you active shooter, light medical, just to kind of understand how to help people if something really bad happens and what they need to look out for. And they get a lot of hands-on experience for the summer when they're out. So we do provide that for the community. As far as an adult CERT class, we don't have one planned, but we will in the future, and just be looking out for it once we do plan for that.
Are there charges for these? So it's all pro bono?
Correct. So the great thing about our office is that we get quite a bit of grants for preparedness. So one of the, it's called the Urban Area Security Initiative, UWASI. They're only located in extremely populated communities. So they provide us with, grants. We have to, certain programs that we have, they will assist us with purchasing items. We teach the class. So if you've ever been to our office is decked out with really big smart boards. That's one of the things that they provide us is all the smart boards that we can use to teach the kids. They're called Promethean boards. I think you've seen it where you're like, that would be really cool to have in library systems. But they provided all those boards. They provide us with the book bags with preparedness stuff in them. Really just anything we need to help teach the community on emergency response and just kind of like a lower level. We provide some of the funding to PD, which they do the volunteers in policing, where if you want to volunteer in policing with what they have, we actually give them items, computers and things like that for them to continue their process. And then the fire department, which is the fire corps, that we also provide with some funding to purchase mannequins and things like that for them to train their students on.
Okay. Are there any events or initiatives coming up that you want to inform the community about?
Well, we have a hazmat awareness class that we just sent out an email
Yep, saw this one.
for employees of Clayton County that are interested, just to learn a little bit about hazmat. Some of the programs we have is obviously a lot of training. We just finished up Earth Day, so our floodplain analyst was actually working on Earth Day, and that's where the seeds and planting a tree and things like that. So we're just kind of getting the classes ready.
Good deal.
And then CERT is the next big thing for the summer. So just, if you have kids that are interested, get with youth services and sign them up. They need to be teenagers. We can't have little kids. We're not babysitting anybody.
Got it. Wonderful. Well, that's all the questions I had. Kim, do you have any questions from the audience or online?
We do have 2 questions from online. The first question is, what is your office doing to improve Flint River Road with the flooding?
So our office has secured a $24.5 million grant for hazardous mitigation program. Right now, we're in phase 1 of the grant, which is 1.8, so 10% of that. And our objective is to identify where the flooding is and how we can stop it. So really the engineering design part, once we get that bidding process started, then the next part is, this is what's going on, and then here's the funding to fix Flint River. So all Flint River tributaries, and we'll try our best to fix that. Now, $24.5 million may seem a lot, but it's really, in the whole scheme of things, we're really identifying the upper Riverdale Road as far as Flint River goes and try to mitigate a lot of that flooding. We're also trying to reach out to Senator Ossoff's office to try to get more funding for more grants. And then we're also trying to put in for another hazardous mitigation plan program grant to try to fix the Hurricane Creek tributaries. So a lot of these tributaries are having issues because we really think about how Clayton County is set up. The Flint River really starts at the airport. And I know I don't want to blame the airport for a lot of it, but all the runways that's being built, all the sediments. You guys remember when they were shuttling sediments from one end of the county to the other end of the county, and there was a belt that went across up Riverdale Road and things like that? Well, a lot of that sediment that they brought in, it goes down south because it goes into the Flint River. It goes into all the creeks and streams and all the tributaries that we have, the Camp Creek tributary, and basically brings up that water table, and it gets to the point where people's yards are being flooded. And then one of the biggest things we actually have in Clayton County that people realize is beavers. Beavers build dams, and they're great at what they do. If you look at the way, if you look at a lot of locations where there's been a lot of drought and things like that, they've brought in beavers or trying to make man-made beaver dams and bring in beavers just so that they can fix the drought issue. But Clayton County doesn't have a drought issue. We have a lot of streams and a lot of beavers, and we get so much flooding because of them. And so then, it's my job to try to figure out how to remove them and take them to another location as humanely as possible.
Who would have thought?
Real bad.
Beavers. Okay. Okay. The next question is, what should go into a disaster preparedness bag?
Oh, good, great question. Wow. So must be paying attention out there. Good job. Good question. So obviously, you got to look out for your family, right? You got to see what they need. So if somebody takes a lot of medication, they need to have extra medication, maybe one of those pill for like the dates. Seniors, especially, when you have like older folks in your family, the medication is important. Also, have at least 1 gallon of water per family member so 1 gallon per day for a family member. So 1 gallon. So if you have 5 people in your family, that's 5 gallons for at least a day. And then how many days you think that you need to prepare for. I have a bug out bag. It's just a small 24-hour bag that I have. I put clothing in it, water, some snacks. Lighting is important, flashlights. A lot of people don't realize it, but when it gets dark, it's no fun. And then maybe some lighters and matches and things like that. If you come by our office, I could give you a bag of preparedness to go. Or you know what? Don't come to my office. I'll give it to Scott, and he'll give something out.
That works. That works.
Yeah, don't come by my office. Sorry, I won't let you in.
Great question.
Great question.
Okay, so we have, what other free classes are offered other than the Stop the Bleed and Active Shooter for the public?
Well, we have a lot of disaster preparedness classes that we can offer to the public. We try to hit 8 or 9 classes a quarter for CPR or claim performance review. Just our goal is 8 or 9 classes. But if there's a certain class that people are interested about preparedness, they may see somewhere, please contact us or email me, and I'll try my best to bring them here as well. We also work with the Georgia Emergency Management, and they have a lot more training than we do that other counties are teaching, and we can actually send you to those trainings. So it's great. Continue to, if that's the class you want, ask us. But yeah, we do teach quite a bit of classes, and then we also coordinate with PD and fire. So there's also classes that they teach for the community as well. We have a couple more.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm just trying to locate the app. You said Code Red. Which one is the correct one?
Is there one that's blue or purple?
No, I see blue or purple. I see a red.
The red
With
one?
a C and an R with a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one just look like a picnic table cover.
The R in the circle one.
The R and a circle one. Okay.
And if you could also go to our website, just look up Clayton County Office of Resilient Sustainability. There's a QR code that goes straight to it, and you just download the app.
Yes, hello. Your office partners with the fire department, the training center, and they do quarterly events. And is there any way can you get that out to the public more so there can be a larger public participation? Because some of the things that are offered there, you deal with, the fire department will help show some training, some of the large corporations that deal with hazardous materials, so you can find out, do you live by one? What options can you have to help protect yourself and your neighborhood? And then another question is, International Park at Lake Spivey has a smaller lake that seems to have a flooding/flow issue. And I don't know how involved you are with helping mitigate that.
Yes, so first question is with training and how we can assist the community with obviously getting more training out and having it where more people can show up. There's several factors that when we put up classes, some classes aren't open to everybody. But like the preparedness classes, we definitely would love for more people to come. We try to put on social media and things like that. So that's one way, and we'll definitely coordinate, because a lot of the instructors, because like I said, it's very difficult for me or Ms. Shalita to really train everybody. So what happens is we have to partner up with other departments and get instructors involved. But yeah, we definitely will put out more training for the public. But like I said, some training that we have, it's really either for just public safety, just for like employees, and then some are for the public.
I'm talking more about you do a quarterly event that the public is invited to, but I don't think the public knows that they're invited to it.
Oh, the Clayton Performance Review quarterly meetings?
The one you do at the.
The local emergency.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have, all right, so LEPC stands for the Local Emergency Planning Committee. that training or those classes really shouldn't be open to the public. The reason is think of, say I'm a bad guy in Homeland Security, and I know that your business carries X, Y, Z chemicals, and I need it for whatever I need, for whatever it is. The last thing we want to do is really tell you that this is where you could pick it up from. So I think it's a great idea to teach people about it, but sometimes you don't want to broadcast it because Homeland Security reasons.
Good answer.
The international park, though.
Oh, yes. So the flooding at International Park, yes, we are very well aware of it. And oftentimes, we're building and maintenance, but there's the pipe that connects it to the lower part, it gets clogged. And that's probably the main reason. It's really preventative maintenance. If we could clean that, because they put a little screen in front of it and it gets clogged up. So it's really not a situation where it's really on our doing. We need to be better at maintaining it versus trying to, because if we could add higher roads and make it deeper or whatever we need to do, but if it gets clogged, it gets clogged.
Yes.
So what you're saying is we don't want to promote supervillainous?
No, not on this show, no.
Oh, goodness, hi. I have to say, as an employee, county employee, I've taken the Stop the Bleed and the After Shooter classes multiple times, and I very much enjoyed taking them. But life is lifing right now. And what should I do, or how should I go about getting a refresher course, mainly in the Stop the Bleed?
Well, there's a lot of prizes to win these Stop the Bleed classes, and I'm pretty sure that's why you're asking. Just kidding. Hey, get with Scott. Once I put it on the calendar, it only takes really maybe 2 hours to go through the whole process. I enjoy teaching it. Like I said, I think there's a lot of value in knowing about how your body works and how to really prevent yourself from dying just because of bleeding. And then a lot of family members here, they are older, they take blood thinners and things like that. So, it's important that we know how to even stop it if something happens to them. I've been in several situations where I've gone to a location, going to work. I told you guys in my story where I came to work and saw a motorcycle accident. And at that time I was a police officer. I had no idea what to do, but just look at the guy. So situations like that, it goes, I need to do something about it. So I'll get with Scott and I'll get with Ms. Sherry and we get class going again. I think you guys, people enjoy it and we give out plenty of supplies.
It's a great class. It really is. And I think now with our modified hours to where we have some time on Tuesday morning, we might be able to schedule some during staff meetings, our regular staff meetings. So, yeah,
The smaller class, the better chance you get stuff. Just saying.
there are incentives, right? Any other questions, Kim?
That is all of our questions. for
That's it?
today. Yeah, that's
Just getting good.
right.
Thank you so much, Director
Thank you.
Nguyen. Thank you so much. Yes, we have one more. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's okay.
Hi again. Being a part of the military and with the weather, and I know you were saying something about the hot and how to prepare yourself for the weather, but do y'all put out like alerts like black flag, red flag, green flag, like they did in the military as well, to how to prepare people like it's going to be a very hot temperature and, be like limit your time outside, activity outside and so on and so forth, and stay hydrated. Do y'all offer those alerts as well here in the county?
We will trigger those alerts if it gets extremely bad. Like I said earlier, with Code Red, the last thing I want to do is make people be desensitized to the information they get. If you notice that our office will send out outlooks just for severe weather and things like that, that will probably be our first thing that we send to. And then obviously it goes to the media. They want to take that story, they can, but we try to put it out to the county through other means besides Code Red. Code red should be only used for just extreme situations. Imagine if every day you got a text saying, hey, it's gonna be hot outside, make sure you're cool. And then after 5 days, you're gonna be like, all right, Clayton County, I get it. So there's a fine line between those two situations. But yeah, we had something very similar at the fire department as well. You know, once it hurts us, when a certain temperature hits, we tell everybody, and then we have to take a certain amount of time of rest. We can't just keep doing what we're doing. So yeah,
Now,
it's just called different.
do some of those postings get put on your social media? Do you have social media also, which may be another outlet or opportunity to announce those things?
Yep. Yeah, they go out to communications, they go out to our Facebook and things like that. So yeah, we try to tell everybody, you know, if it's something really serious. Usually hot weather is probably not as serious on the whole totem pole of seriousness of things, but tornadoes, you'll definitely get emails from our office and texts and things like that.
Any last? Yes, sir. We need roller skates here.
Sorry. Just like the weather channel app and stuff, I get different notifications about, rain showers. Does that happen on your app on code red when there's a fire?
So it depends on the fire. So if this is just a small house fire, you're not going to get notification. If it's something where like a wildfire that we spoke at the very beginning, yeah, we're going to definitely send out things for mainly alerting you to where it's at. And you need to, maybe if there's an evacuation necessary, that's when we send it out. We won't send out on like a small house fire. Remember, our office deals with a large scale event. The day-to-day house fire and the day-to-day car accident or shooting, not really particularly in our wheelhouse. We deal with like terrorism, planes falling out of the sky, just situations where we have to coordinate with multiple agencies, multiple resources, and see what Clayton County needs, and we try to get it. Whenever a disaster happens, our office is the only office that can get things from the state. So let's just say we run out of fire trucks, and all the Metro Atlanta area fire trucks are kind of being used for, I don't know, a big, huge fire that we can't put out. That's when our office coordinates with the state to bring in other resources from other departments that can come and help us. But it's really our office is the only one that could request those resources through emergency management.
Good deal.
Go on once. Okay, I think we're good.
We good?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
This has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much again. Another round of applause. Well, thank you all again for tuning in and being here for an episode of Coffee with the Librarian. I look forward to seeing you all same place, same time in June. And until then, stay safe and take care.
All right, thank you.